Hey YouTube, this is my new channel, Wargamer Gunner. A little bit of an introduction. I'm Gunner. I'm in Texas currently. I've been wargaming for about 10 years or so. It's one of my main hobbies. Been to Adepticon. I do a little bit of commission painting on the side, but I really like working on my own stuff, so I don't get a lot done for the commissions. So, right now I'm booked up. But a little bit about my wargaming and how I got into it. Really, I saw the 4th edition rulebook over at a buddy's house for Warhammer 40k, and I checked it out. I thought it was really cool. Didn't really know much about it. Didn't have a Games Workshop near me. There was a hobby store in the mall in the town where I grew up in eastern Washington. Over in Idaho, there was a little store. And I remember seeing, I was probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old, and I remember seeing these guys sitting there with these really cool models, and turns out it was Warhammer Fantasy that I was watching, but I had no idea. I just thought it was neat. And then in about 3rd grade, one of my friends got the Tau when they first came out, and I've been painting models and building plastic models since I was tiny, sitting on my dad's lap, and he'd help me build them. My dad's been into radio control airplanes and plastic models for a long time, since like the 60s, and even before then. So I grew up modeling. I grew up learning how to do scale aircraft, armor, tanks, but mostly aircraft. I still fly radio control airplanes and stuff. That's another one of my hobbies, but that's not what this channel is about. So when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was super stoked about it. So I was like, that's really neat. And then in the back of Battle for Middle-earth computer game, there was just a little advert for a Lord of the Rings game from Games Workshop. And I was like, what is this? So I thought that was really neat, and I was looking at it, and I went online, and I saw it, and I immediately fell in love with it. I never thought I'd get into 40k, really. I never thought I'd get into fantasy, but Lord of the Rings, whoo, Lord of the Rings. So I got into it, and I didn't have any friends that played, no wargaming buddies. I literally played against myself, and then at one point I got my brother and sister involved a little bit, to the point where my brother had an Uruk-hai army, my sister had a Rohan army, and I had a Gondor army and some orcs. Some mortar stuff. Very basic stuff. I ended up getting... was this middle school? Middle school, I ended up getting into Lord of the Rings a little bit more. I had a good handle on the rules. I got one of my buddies into it, so we started playing. He got High Elves. That was the first time we really used eBay for anything, and funny thing is I actually have his models now. Lost touch with him a long time ago. Don't really know what's going on with him, but I have his models, so I have a bunch of High Elves. But I got into it one Christmas. I ended up painting up my little brother's Uruk-hai army and my sister's Rohan army, because they were young at the time. I knew they were never really interested in the hobby aspect. They wanted to play a little bit, but they'd rather play video games and write stories and read books. So that was cool, so I spent a lot of long nights painting up stuff, and one of the stuff I painted up I actually found when I went back home to where my parents are in eastern Washington this year, and that was this Aragorn I painted up over 10 years ago. Not bad, base is a little worse for wear. I never bought the GW sand because it was too expensive. I ended up with railway ballast, and I didn't realize till later it was way too big. But no paint on the base, just some flock and a pretty basic paint scheme. I was getting into highlighting, and kind of, let's see here, yeah, a little bit of highlighting there. I don't know why it's glossy. I have no idea. Most of my models weren't glossy, but this one is. So I painted him up, and I was really chuffed. I thought this was great work, and it's kind of a leeway into, if you're just starting out in wargaming or you think you can't paint, you're wrong. You just need to sit down and paint. It took me 10 years, but I went from this, which I painted up 10 years ago, to this one, which I painted up last night. And I don't know if it's going to focus, but yeah, so I painted him up in about 3 hours last night. So, same Aragorn. Literally, I had 3 sets of these, one for me and one for my brother and sister. And I think this one might have been mine, because I wrote down, well, this one could have been mine too. I wrote down P's and J's on most of the bases, but neither of these have them. But here's a little side by side. Okay. Yeah. Big difference. So, Lord of the Rings. Getting back into it. I want to give a quick shout out to GBHL, the Great British Hobbit League, and DCHL, which is the Washington, D.C. Hobbit League. James, Damien, Tom, Jamie, you've all been a huge inspiration for me to get back into Lord of the Rings. I have a huge collection now. I've been eBaying like crazy. I did a stint at GW as an on-call manager here in the States. It was really fun, but I also work full-time in another retail place. So it was a lot. It was a lot of work. Holiday season, I'd have Christmas off, and that was it. And then I get super sick starting in January because I just couldn't handle it. Just because my immune system, everything, I'd be drained, and I'd just get sick. So that was no good. Now, what I'm currently working on Lord of the Rings wise is Suludan. So getting the base colors on, getting the white up on the horse, is working out, trying out the crackle base for the first time. So I'm torn on the product, the Agrel and Earth from GW. I like it, however, it does flake off quite easily. So I've been experimenting. I did a couple test bases, no primer, no paint, just the Agrel and Earth on there, and it would flake off when I tried dry brushing it. So now with Suludan, I primed it, base coated the base with Scorched Brown from Vallejo, put a gloss coat on it, and a thick gloss coat at that, let that dry, and then I put on the Agrel and Earth, and now I'm going to put a matte varnish on it to tone it down, and hopefully seal it in. Then I'm going to try dry brushing it. Hopefully it works. We'll find out. I also play Warhammer 40k. Getting into Gene Stealer Colts. I almost got out of Warhammer 40k. Almost. I've been playing a lot of 30k. I did Imperial Fist Army, and then I went over and sold that, and now I am doing a Sons of Horus Army. So I will showcase that army at a later time. But this is a work in progress, obviously. But, excuse me, been playing in a Escalation League. There is one of my Acolytes that I've been painting up. So bases are really basic on these guys. I'll probably rep them all off and get resin bases at some point. But doing that, I also have a Black Templar army and Orc army, neither of which are built or painted. They're sitting there and they're pretty cellophane, ready to be worked on. Orcs are about 3,000 points. Black Templars are at 2,000 points. I did play Warhammer Fantasy 8th Ed, and a little bit of 7th Ed, but by a little bit, I mean a smidgen. I mean, I probably spent a month trying to figure out Warhammer Fantasy 7th Ed by myself or with one friend, and it was terrible. Warhammer 8th Ed when I moved to Texas. I was in Idaho in 2013. Let's see, I left home in the early 2013. I think it was April of 2013, and I left in October of 2013. Met my now wife up in Idaho, who's from Texas, and I moved down here. So here I am. Great wargaming scene down here. Really competitive though. Not a lot of painting going on. I'm definitely known as a painter rather than a gamer by a long stretch by the entire community. But that's cool because I do really enjoy painting. I'm wanting to play more games, get more games, and I got my wife into Wings of Glory, which is pretty fun. It's a pre-painted World War I, World War II game. Really easy to learn. Super simple. Easy to play on the kitchen table from IKEA. So, you know, it's very small, but it gets the job done. You know, and then I have a more in-depth rules that me and one of my friends are playing through called Scramble, and I found that on Wargames Vault, and it's excellent. Excellent game. Planes are really small, they're like 1/300 scale, so I mean they're tiny, but they're a blast, and the game is really well done. So I play that. I have a Saga army, but I've played a handful of games of Saga, and I want more meat meat to it than what Saga gives. Really looking forward to Sword Point from Gripping Beast. It's a large-scale historical combat game without the mechanics of Saga. So we'll see. It's on pre-order right now. It comes out on the 20th. So I'll pick that up for Christmas probably. I got paint all over my hands. What else is going on? So that's kind of my introduction to Wargaming. And I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Gunner. Just search it in any of the groups. You'll find me. This is Wargamer Gunner. I also have Mr. Gunner 177 as a channel name, and most of my usernames on forums and the like as well. So this is my intro video. I just want to say hi and a big thank you for having such a great community that I can just jump into. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. Oh, I also play Age of Sigmar now, sort of, a little bit. Have my ogres left over from fantasy. I love them, playing great games with them, and Age of Sigmar has actually made me want to buy more models for that army, which I considered done a long time ago. My cat knocked over the box they were in, and they weren't in a carrying case, so I haven't even done damage control on them yet. But I'm also looking at Iron Jaws. I have the Maw Crusher model, which is painted up and everything, and I have 2 boxes of warriors or whatever there are, and a war chanter and a shaman. I painted up a war chanter, so I'll show those off in a later video as well. So that's kind of my introduction. So you can expect battle reports once I figure out a tripod thing for my phone or actually get a good camera. You can expect painting tutorials once I figure out how to film stuff while looking at the table. I'll have a couple how-to videos, just random stuff like that, and then you can expect to see a lot of vlogs just from my progress week by week. That's a commitment I'm hoping I can keep. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I know this video is running long, but I just want to say thank you to the Wargaming community. Thank you for GBHL for getting me back into Lord of the Rings, which I had sold off my entire collection junior year of high school, and I now have amassed lots more sitting in blisters and boxes. So I'm gonna get to it. That's next year's project. So hopefully I'll be at Adepticon next year. Still kind of up in the air. Don't know if I'll have the cash to put down for it, but we'll see. So yeah, it's a little bit about me. Y'all have a good night, and keep hobbying, you know, keep painting, keep gaming, and I'm looking forward to meeting y'all. See ya.